goodness. Big move Monday. Look out. A way to end the tournament.
So what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Quad Pod, sponsored by Poseidon Strength and Adidas Wrestling. Make sure you're using our discount codes at checkout. As always, it's great to be joined by Robbie, Austin, and Kevin. I'm Holmes, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 43, the Troy Polamalu episode. We're going to get a little bit reckless as we talk about the upcoming week of wrestling. We've got some really good duels that are probably going to get just as reckless as Troy Polamalu used to play. And I go with Polamalu, and before we started, Austin said, "You're going to go with Sproles." I said Polamalu mostly because I had a chance of interviewing Ryan Clark once on a different podcast, and I was like, kind of gave him like a fishing question of like, what did you learn from playing with Troy Polamalu? And it was like just trying to get like one of those stories, and he completely called me out and was like, I'm not going to give you the answer that you want because I didn't actually learn anything from playing with him. What I learned is that I had to know way more than anybody else on the field because you couldn't account for what Troy was ever going to do. So I'll always go with Troy Polamalu because he was that guy that made everybody else better on the field, mostly because you had no idea how he was going to respond from play to play or if he was going to jump over the line and do whatever. So he was a complete wild card. But let's jump in. We've got some good action across all our different conferences as we've had from week to week. Love that we're now in conference competition. Obviously, the ACC has less teams, so not as many head-to-heads from week to week. So let's start in the ACC. Robbie, what do you have coming up? Any matches or duels that you're really looking forward to?
It's a great slate of duels this weekend, honestly. Friday night is Stanford, Virginia Tech. Planning to go to that one. I mean, up and down the lineup, this is going to be a good one. Ventresca, Provo at 25. Provo just coming off the big win over Robinson. Ventresca has a win over Robinson earlier this year. 33, Tyler Knox, All-American against Dylan Campbell. Consiglio and Crook may be one of the swing matches there. Aiden Valentio, Colin Guy, also a great match. And Ethan Miller, Daniel Cardenas. So some really good matches in lower weights. It's going to kind of depend on upper weights, I think, for Virginia Tech to be able to pull this one through. And then Stanford will actually come to Charlottesville on Saturday to face Virginia. So some good matches there. Provo and Kevion Roller, Tyler Knox, Marlon Yarbrough will be good. Yeah, those will be some good ones there. And then the in-state rivalry between UNC and NC State. Kind of hit on that a little bit on our last episode. I think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people are saying. WrestleStat has it 21-9. I think it's definitely going to be closer than that. UNC has been wrestling incredibly well. NC State has had two very close wins. They had a 2-point win over Virginia with the pin from Isaac Trumbull to win it, and they had a 1-point win over Stanford. So they have been really kind of skating on that edge. And I think UNC's got a real chance to knock them off. Vince Robinson, Kyson Terrakina would be a great match. 33 is still kind of up in the air. It looks like they're going with Troy Holman as their starter for NC State. So we'll have Ethan Oakley, who looked really good this weekend against Yarborough. Ryan Jack, Luke Simcox should be a pretty good match. Bisgans, Nate Askew shouldn't be super great. Bisgans has been incredible this year. And the other one that I have circled on this one is at 65, Will Denny and Bryce Hepner. Bryce Hepner has been outstanding for UNC this year. Kind of wasn't sure what to expect of him as a transfer, and he has been really kind of kicking some ass and looked great doing it. So Denny's looked great as well. So that should be a really good matchup. Looking forward to that one.
I want to go back to Virginia Tech. I know a couple episodes ago we've talked about the amount of talent that they have, and is it going to be Guy going? Is it going to be this guy? Is it going to be that guy? Have they settled any of that yet? I know we're into the second semester now, so a lot more of these teams have to figure out what they're going to be doing moving forward. Has Virginia Tech gotten any answers in what they're doing in some of these weight classes?
Yes. So barring injury, their lineup is going to be Ventresca at 25. Dylan Campbell will go at 33. Aaron Seidel is going to redshirt, but I was told that he will get his 5 matches and he'll be there for some big matches, which I think is kind of alluding to him facing Oklahoma State, where potentially a Jack's Forest match, rematch, I guess would be what that is. Tom Crook at 41, Holland guy will be the guy at 49. Ethan Miller will be bumping up to 57. And Max Church will be going at 65 as the kind of final decision between him and Ryan Burton. Burton's going to redshirt. DeSante 74, Bullock 84, Sasso 97, and Jimmy Mullen at heavyweight.
Pretty solid
lineup. Solid lineup. Yeah.
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 How I mean, were there wrestle offs? Did anything happen in the room to decide that?
It was more discussion between the coaching staff than results. With what we've seen from Seidel, and every time he's gone out, I think he's shown what he can do. But it was more of a discussion of, DC Dylan Campbell's looked fantastic this year. He's up in the top 10 rankings, and we can preserve a red shirt for Seidel and have him ready to go in the lineup that next year is going to be even saltier.
Yeah,
because the only people they're losing is Ethan Miller is the only person who's graduating next year. So they're going to be a very, very salty team next year.
And they gain an NCAA champion. So
they gain the NCAA champion back. They get Bo Bassett. They're plugging Seidel in. Drew Gorman has a chance of getting in. Ryan Burton. They're going to be damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we talked on the last episode about the youth in Oklahoma State, but Virginia Tech certainly has it. And coming into the lineup, and there's some guys that are already in the room right now, like Seidel that we just spoke about, like Burton as well. And then they have the captain coming back to lead these youngsters too. So hell of a lineup that Virginia Tech is putting together, not just this season, but something to look forward to in the next year as well. Austin, what's happening in the EIWA?
EIWA is actually very light this week. Friday, Navy takes on Bloomsburg. That's the only match. Saturday, there's only one match, F&M Sacred Heart. Sunday, a little more action going on. Best match is probably going to be Bucknell and Army. Hofstra wrestles Buffalo, Navy and American. And then Binghamton will head to the Northeast to take on Brown and Harvard all on the same day. Ivy League, again, another light one this week. Columbia at Princeton Friday night. And then Sunday is going to be Brown at Cornell, Columbia at Penn, which I will be on the call for if that's not canceled with the big snowstorm coming. We'll see. And then Princeton at Rider on Sunday. Nice little battle of New Jersey there. So some good stuff going on. And our last show, I wanted to mention, I completely forgot results from, what was it, Friday? Mercyhurst and Slippery Rock wrestled. Those two programs are kind of coming back from the dead, so to speak. So good to see those guys wrestling and getting some duels in before they're officially, I think Mercyhurst comes back next year officially to D1.
Yeah.
And Slippery Rock is going to be, I think, Division 2. I think that's next year. Yeah. So yeah, good to see some Pennsylvania schools getting added and, getting some duels in and, wrestling, I guess. So it's cool. Good to see.
Nice. On to some action and Big Ten. Will you, Claunch?
Yeah. Well, I guess Friday night duels. We'll start there. Which I was watching Iowa Penn State last week, and Shane Sparks goes, my 3 favorite words in the English language: Friday night duels. And my wife is like, "That's your 3 favorite? Like those are them."
Shane Sparks had a couple of questionable things that he said on the call the other night.
Yeah, he did.
The other one being that Antrell Taylor was listening to Dr. Dre or Snoop. It's like, tell us without telling us that those are the only 2 rappers you actually know.
Oh yeah, that was tough. That was tough. Could have gone with anything. Anyway,
I said Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. That'd have been better.
Could have made it funny. Could have definitely made it funny.
Yeah,
but he was trying.
Yeah,
and he shouldn't.
Yeah,
should have left it alone.
But no, Friday Night Wrestling should actually be legit. They've got a triple header, I believe, starts at 5 Eastern with Purdue and Michigan State. Expect Purdue to come out of that one, but you'll get to see some Joey Blaze action, as well as Brody Bauman, I got confused with Blake Borman, who is also on their team at 133. But Brody Bauman actually had a nice win over Lenny Pinto last weekend, so he's rounded into good form. So that should be a fun one. Rolls right into Ohio State and Minnesota at 7. Ohio State, they've just been rolling through everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They have been beating the shit out of everybody. I mean, this one's going to be a fun one. You're going to get 125. I mean, it's likely going to be Bazakis out there against Jory Volk. Fishback against McAnally. Whichever heavyweight they're going to send out there for Minnesota against Feldman. So there's, I mean, just a ton of up and down through the lineup matches. And then Ben Davino against whoever. That's just fun to watch. Same with Jesse Mendez. Like, I expect that to be a Buckeye barnstorming there in Minnesota. And then you roll right into Iowa and Nebraska. And I'm really excited for this one. I mean, it's in Nebraska. Nebraska is likely favored to win the duel.
Do we think that AJ Ferrari wrestles?
No.
Yeah, with Keeter coming off a loss. Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know.
You think he's going to no. He's going to have a court case. He'll be busy.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I don't think he's going to either.
No,
I don't think he's going to. I think he's there, but I don't think he wrestles.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, Ziola's got at least one more date he can go with, I believe.
He's got 2 more, but they also have Harley Andrews who's
that's true too. Yeah.
Legit.
So they're good. They're good. But I'm just more excited to see a pissed off Iowa squad and kind of see what we're gonna do. I mean, last episode we talked at length about Ferrari, the other Ferrari, and what he's gonna do offensively. And he's gonna have his hands full with Silas Aldred, who is coming off a loss himself. So I'm sure he's going to be motivated to go out there. He was a Big Ten champ at 197, and he's got some.
And he has a great mustache.
And he does have a great mustache. So
mustache.
I'm very excited to see that duel between those two teams. And let me see what else is going on. Rutgers Northwestern is going to be that night as well. Oh, let's roll right into the MAC because I do have a lot of good MAC ones I wanted to talk about. NIU wrestles Ohio and Kent State. I believe both of those are Friday as well. George Mason takes on Edinburgh. And later in the weekend, Wisconsin, Minnesota. That's always a fun duel. That should be an interesting one because I feel like where Wisconsin is really strong, Minnesota isn't as strong. Although 125 should be fun with Nicolas Rivera and Jory Volk, assuming they both compete that day. As well as Rutgers and Illinois. Both those teams coming off losses to Michigan this last weekend. That'll be on Sunday. But yeah, both those squads have some studs in the lineup. And Braden Scholes has looked really, really good this year for the Illini at 165 pounds. And hopefully we'll get Cannon Webster back because I would like to – I don't want him to come back unless he's ready to come back, but he was having a real good year before getting hurt. And then Indiana wrestles Penn State. That'll be tough, but again, they'll bounce back against Michigan State. Central Michigan on Sunday will be wrestling against SIU Edwardsville, who we talked about last episode of having, again, being 8-1 on the season, wrestling really, really well this year. Central Michigan taking the loss to NIU, so they're going to be looking to bounce back with some action there. So I think that's going to be a fun one, and as a Chippewa myself, a little nervous. So I'd like to see them bounce back within the MAC and get a win there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Big 12.
One more real quick. I'm sorry.
George
Mason and Lockhaven should be a really good duel. Lockhaven is probably the favorite. I think George Mason was another one of the favorites to win the MAC before the season started. That's going to be a good duel, assuming full lineups.
Nice. I'm looking at the Big 12 right now, and we're starting tonight, and by tonight I mean Thursday, as people are watching this, with UNI and Arizona State, and it's in Iowa. So tonight, 6:30 Central Time is what kicks off our week in the Big 12. Oklahoma State, Missouri. That should be pretty lopsided, I feel like, at this point with how Oklahoma State has been wrestling. I think we could potentially see Jax Forrest again, and that's not like inside info. That's just thinking, like reading the tea leaves of how much he's been competing lately, and them saying that he gets his 5 dates. And I think he would. I mean, he would still have 2 left. But I think it's, as we alluded to in the other episode, in our last episode, it's either this one or it's Iowa State, Iowa, and Virginia Tech for him. So I think Virginia Tech and Iowa are definitely in the cards for him. But I think it's between this one and Iowa State of like what his 3rd date or 4th date would essentially be. So we'll certainly see what happens there. Iowa State, Northern Colorado also on Friday, as well as South Dakota State and Cal Baptist. On Saturday, just one duel with Wyoming and West Virginia. And then Sunday.
That should be a good one, though.
Which one? Wyoming, West Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be a really good duel.
Yeah. Should be a lot of fun.
Both teams have looked solid, so.
Yeah. Going down in Morgantown, was at 5:00 Eastern time on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Iowa State, South Dakota State, Northern Colorado, Missouri playing host all weekend. Oklahoma State has Utah Valley at home, and then Cal Baptist has North Dakota State. So Cal Baptist just spending time in the Dakotas all weekend, going from Brookings to Fargo. It's quite the trip. Hopefully there's not a lot of snow there. I've been in Fargo. I've been in South Dakota. I've been in Brookings actually when there's a lot of snow, and it is not fun whatsoever.
Very windy.
It is, yeah. When it snows, it is just like snowdrift after snowdrift, just blowing all over the place. Not fun whatsoever. That was back in the Bono and Reader days of South Dakota State. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, seeing that Wyoming, West Virginia dual meet. As you guys said, that one's going to be really good. But then also just Arizona State, Northern Iowa. I'm just a Northern Iowa fan these days. And I think, a lot of people would watch for the Keckeisen of all of it in UNI's lineup, but he's now no longer there. So, obviously you got to look to other guys to step up and just be leader in that lineup. And I feel like Schwab does obviously a really good job of leading those guys, but you need more people to do that, right? You got to have some teammates to do that. So I feel like they're still kind of coming into their own now that Keckeisen is no longer there, at least in the lineup, I should say, and instead, being in the coaching chair. So that's why I'm very interested in Northern Iowa, mostly to see who's stepping up in that lineup, to be completely honest. But besides that, I'm pretty sure everybody is going to be in the Big 12, glued to whatever Oklahoma State is doing this weekend. Is Jax Forrest wrestling this weekend? Is he not? I'm going to say he probably doesn't. And we see him in the Iowa State, Virginia Tech, and the Iowa duel. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but that's where I think we see Jax Forrest for the rest of the season. Anything else that you guys are watching this weekend besides the duels that we talked about coming up on the slate?
Gardner Webb Campbell and Clarion have a try. That should be pretty fun. Friday,
as promised in our last episode, I want to jump to Robbie and Kevin, our betting men. And obviously there's no lines that are out as we are recording this, but we'll stay tuned to your Twitter accounts and get updates and things like that. And like I said, maybe you guys can do a video later on in the week when the lines do come out. But Robbie, where are you placing your bets this week? Any dual meets or any individual matches?
So Virginia doesn't allow me to do individual matches, which would be awesome if it did.
Damn, Virginia, no fun.
Yeah, I can't bet on Virginia teams either, which kind of sucks. I think that the NC State North Carolina line will be interesting to watch and could certainly be one to play off of. Same thing, Ohio State, Minnesota, and Oklahoma State, Missouri should be ones to really kind of closely look at the line. And then the Wyoming, West Virginia would be the other one I would pay and Ohio State, Nebraska. That would be good too. And South Dakota State, Iowa State. Apparently I'm going to be betting a lot this weekend. So
Don't tell your
there's
wife.
that. She doesn't know. It's okay.
She has no idea.
Yeah, I saw it was a big home weekend for Nebraska. They have Iowa on Friday and then the Ohio State on Ohio
That's a
State on
hell
Sunday.
of a weekend
Mhm.
stand.
Yeah, hell of a home stand for Nebraska. And I'm not sure what those lines are going to be, but I'll be interested to see those because like the way Iowa just got beat up this week, it's like, are we going to see the same again, or are we going to see complete opposite? Maybe Iowa's going to attack more to be, it could be good wrestling either way, but yeah, I'm interested to see those.
I'm going to be, well, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to affect the lines. That's probably what's going to happen. But in general this year, I've been hammering whatever, whatever. I've been going against Michigan State. And so I've won more than I've lost with that. And so I'll probably keep doing that with Purdue. I think
probably pretty good to do that with them and Duke.
Yeah. Yeah. I realistically, I mean, against Purdue, they might win at 133 and they might win at heavyweight. And I don't think they're going to win another match.
Yeah.
I didn't bet the Duke line against Pitt
maybe
this weekend because it was
157.
36.5, but then Pitt won by 40. So there's that.
What's the line on, and I know I already mentioned it, but what's the line on AJ Ferrari wrestling in both duels this weekend? I don't think he shows up.
One or the other.
I'd be surprised if he showed up. I think maybe Ohio State because he's already lost to Feldman this year.
Say that, yeah.
But I don't know.
I doubt it.
Maybe this is the weekend he serves his suspension from the coaches and two tough opponents, but you are in trouble, so you're suspended. Wishful thinking, I don't know, maybe, but
yeah, don't start any fights during the handshake.
Yeah.
I want to see what Penn State's favorite over Indiana too.
42.
Probably.
I'll probably take it.
Probably take it. Yeah.
By the way, I don't look at these match by match when I make my pick. It's all based on vibes alone.
It's gut feelings.
Yeah.
Gut feelings and team colors.
Yeah.
Mascots. More ferocious mascot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a Cornhusker would beat up a Hawk. So
that's fair.
Going with that.
Herbie's creepy as hell, especially now that he has his blonde hair back.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just the Hawk's eye.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's probably got to be really tough when it's Ohio State and Iowa, because there's nothing but eyes. It's an eye to eye type of match.
An eye for an
eye. You get it, not in an eye. That's not a good thing.
Oh man, we're off the rails. Hour two of this podcast of us recording is usually, you could tell we're a little off the rails, a little bit.
Hey, speaking of being off the rails, do you think maybe speaking of chess matches that Columbia and Princeton, they just do speed chess? They're just like, fuck wrestling. Bust out the boards.
Yeah, I think it's like a Wordle challenge or whatever that word. Whatever
bibliography writing contest.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Spelling
you can finish their works cited page the first.
Just comparing dissertations.
Yeah, that should be a good one though, because but in the Ivy League, obviously Cornell's top dog, but Penn's kind of closing that gap a little bit, and I think they're kind of sitting second. But Columbia, they have some sneaky good guys. They had a down year last year just because they redshirted everybody with Coach Pritzloff coming in. So yeah, I'm excited to see there'll be some good matchups there for sure.
Yeah, Columbia's been sneaky good. I mean, Snelly did a great job there and had some great recruits. And I mean, it's an Ivy League school, so most of them stuck around. They're not going to go anywhere and leave an Ivy League school. A couple of them did after they graduated, but they've got a solid lineup.
Yeah, their last All-American, Lennox Wolak, is now on staff at Penn. So a little bit of not a homecoming for him, but coaching against his old team, always interesting.
And he wrestled in Claw, and somehow Devin Skatska didn't know he was going to hit an inside trip.
Ken's
That's
dodge.
the only move he knows.
It's a judo thing.
It's like not knowing Dayton Fix is going to hit an inside trip.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie, I don't know if something to discuss this week or this episode next week. I saw people on Twitter and Facebook just chattering about Melvin Miller reclassifying like Jax did this year, because he's going to be a senior in high school next year. He would join his brother Bo. Just would be interesting because he's beaten the top guys at 157 this year already, right? So I feel like he's kind of college ready. So maybe that's something we table for next week. Just to
Askren threw that out there on Twitter. That's where it came from. Askren threw that out.
Okay. Yeah.
It is wild that Brandon Cannon is ranked number 1 at 157 right now, and he has lost to Melvin Miller this year.
Yeah. I don't think it was close though, was it? Didn't Miller kick the crap out of
him? I don't remember.
And then
that's what I think.
Jackson Joy, what's he ranked right now? And he lost to Bassett.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Hokies got a bright future.
Got a bright one.
To have in Blacksburg.
Got a bright one. Speaking of which, I really like the video they put out for, was it the new singlet? The Virginia Tech's new singlet. The snow is pretty dope. Pretty dope.
Like I've been on that for a long time. Their creative team is hands down best in the country. Their video work, their photography, Ethan does an awesome job with it. And I think a lot of teams could look to that for some guidance and do a lot better job getting their team out in front of the fans.
Ethan's a good dude.
Love that guy.
He's a good dude. Always good to see Ethan. I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. We'll wait for those lines to. Well, at this point, the lines will be out. So, if you're watching this right now, head over to Robbie and Kevin's Twitter account because they're probably putting out what their bets are right now. But that's it for this week. And tune in for the wrestling tonight. As I said, Arizona State kicks things off tonight. So that's when the action is starting on Thursday. So make sure you guys are tuning in every single week for our stupidity, as well as we recap the week. We give you what our picks are, or what bets we're making, as well as what we're going to be watching. And since we are in full-on conference mode, we've got some really good slates of wrestling. Appreciate everybody listening and watching, laying those comments on us, whether it's on Twitter or in the comment section or in the DMs, however you get it to us. We appreciate it. And we also appreciate our sponsors, Poseidon Strength and Adidas Wrestling. Make sure you're using those discount codes. Also, while you're over on Kevin's Twitter account, you'll probably see the discount code kind of riddled throughout his entire feed as he pushes very hard for our sponsor, as the rest of us do, as well as we retweet all of those things. But we appreciate you guys listening and watching. Enjoy the slate of wrestling. College football is now over, so you have to turn to college wrestling to get any of your action. I don't know why you would watch any other sport now that it is full-on winter sports season. And we'll see you again next time. Peace.